When the storm came, you knew something was brewing, or in Epic's case, something was in the pipeline. But it was not your average LTM or skin release, no. It wasn't something small that they had planned. We're talking about something far worse. Something far more diabolical. Far more evil that not even Fred can save us from. There is something waiting and hiding beneath us all. There's a monster under Polar Peak, and today we've compiled the top 5 theories that you need to know. We weighed in on a bunch of ideas you guys had for what Epic we're planning, and we picked out the ones we thought were the most believable, as well as the ones that had some evidence to support such speculation or claims. Or also, we're really close to 2.5 million subscribers, so subscribe. Now, without further ado, are you going to use code T5G or not? And let's get right into the news. Number 5, the Monster Caddis event and Season 10 leaks. In barely a month's time, we'll be seeing the very next Fortnite season, Season 10. We got a couple leaks and pieces of information that may give us an idea as to what events we'll be seeing, about the very theme of the season, and potentially its battle pass. Now, the Caddis event has been leaked for a while, and we've all been patiently waiting on the edge of our seats for any little hint that might suddenly appear on the map or the Reddit subfeed. Smith Srini, a Reddit user and a data miner, has discovered 3 different posters within the files, and has been kind enough to share them with us all. At a first glance, you could easily assume that these might be some random posters they're just going to add around the map like they have already. However, they stand out a bit too much for it to be that simple. When you take a look at them closely, you'll notice how they all have this old school World War II art style to them that many real posters had back in those days. There's a fair few theories on what these will mean, but the current idea is that this could be a part of a general army and war theme for Season 10. Which makes sense considering that the Battle Royale island and all of its citizens will most likely be at war with some giant monster. All the posters have very defensive sentences as well. When danger strikes, take the high ground, duck and hover, and finally, we can build it. Not exactly telling us to attack, but more run and defend, so that we're fighting something we have no chance of beating yet. There's also the idea that these could represent different LTMs, but one thing that it gives an almost guarantee for is the return of the jetpacks. Yep, the duck and hover poster clearly shows a commando default using the jetpack. So if that'll be returning as part of the boss fight LTM or even in normal battle royale modes, we'll have to just wait and see. But how do you honestly feel about the jetpack? Should they have stayed vaulted or been brought back? I'm assuming they may have made a few little tweaks to it as well for balancing, but I don't see why not for LTMs. Number 4, the Godzilla Theory. So this is something we did its entire own video for because honestly, there's just so much evidence that it deserved it. So if you want to see the entire breakdown, then you can find a link to it in the description. But for now, we're going to do a brief recap of why it is that Godzilla might well and truly be the monster we're all waiting to finally see. The new Godzilla film, King of the Monsters, was released on the 31st of May, which is also around the time when the event with the eye occurred. With the amount of clues we've seen, even since the very beginning of Fortnite, from the early seasons, we've had a single giant footprint over by Viking Village Mountain. It's been a mystery only theorized upon, with no evidence until now, when the Polar Peaks creature walked off the island, leaving those same footprints, the very same footprints, in fact, that we always see from any Godzilla movie. But it doesn't stop there. In the Season 9 Battle Pass at Tier 50, you can unlock a Godzilla-looking emblem. With the recent Downtown LTM, you can unlock a Rex-themed backboard, which shows a giant tank version of him demolishing a city. Plenty of in-game clues that all kind of point towards a Godzilla-like monster or some kind of Godzilla event. And that's when you watch the actual Godzilla trailer, and any doubts you have are essentially squashed. You see his eye close up, and it looks almost identical to the one trapped in Polar Peaks. You also see another monster called King Ghidorah rising from a volcano. It almost feels like a Battle Royale island has been modeled for an event in collaboration with the film. One more added bit of evidence to support this theory is that one of the main companies behind Fortnite, known as Tencent, already has ties with the upcoming Godzilla film. Tencent also plays a major role in PUBG Mobile, which has already confirmed their own Godzilla collaboration. It's definitely the collab I think a lot of us would love to see. And in number 3, we've got the Kraken. So the theory behind Godzilla is fairly solid, but we can't get tunnel vision, otherwise we'll be completely blindsided if anything unexpected happens. This is where the Kraken Theory comes in. It may not have nearly as much evidence as Godzilla, but it does have enough to support its own possibility. Season 8's trailer was the first sign of the Kraken, showing up on the side of the Battle Royale island map just near where the pirates moved in and created Lazy Lagoon. And it makes sense that we might see a Kraken when we got an entire pirate-themed corner of the island. The two go hand in hand with any pirate story. If you take a a look around any of the pirate locations, you can find an octopus or squid-like creature as the main symbol for their flag. It can be found on tents and canvases all around those areas, and a wooden sculptured version wrapped around the front end of the ship. There's a lot of Kraken themes going on all over that corner of the map. I'm sure you've seen it yourself. But remember when the eye was at polar peaks? Well, when you approached and the eye would follow you around, it also let out a high-pitched squealing noise. I don't know about you, but that suggests more of a Kraken. However, it would be pretty difficult for a Kraken to leave those footprints. The fact is, there's a lot of factors that suggest a Kraken will be coming. Perhaps we may get both. Godzilla from Polar Peaks and a Kraken from Lazy Lagoon. Probably just getting my hopes up, although what monster would you rather see? Godzilla, a Kraken, or perhaps you have another theory? And in number 2, we've got the pressure plant theory. This is where things start to get really interesting. You know those times where you're just theorizing on the little evidence you have and then boom, Fortnite go and make an update that either evolves or changes your theory entirely? Well, one of those turning points was a few days ago when they released an unplanned patch that gave us so much more to go on. When the volcano first exploded, it was taken over and turned into a pressure plant. You could find lava bubbling near the surface and a few buildings spread throughout. This patch, though, completely revamped the area, and it looks to be entirely for the story and its event. All the buildings have been removed from the middle, and instead of a pressure plant, it appears to be 2 giant bay doors that would open up like in the X-Men movies, except minus the basketball court on top and invisible jet. At first, you might think it's to trap some creature they found in the volcano down there, and that scene for the Godzilla trailer where with King Ghidorah comes straight back to me. However, the leading theory right now is that the citizens of the Battle Royale Island are actually building their own giant mecha to fight this polar peak monster. I mean, I knew anime was getting more popular in the Western culture, but now we might have mechas fighting monsters. It's Pacific Rim and Godzilla combined. But what suggests there's a giant monster fighting a robot in there? Well, at the base of the bay doors, you can actually find the helmet for the Utopia skin. This Utopia skin, especially with that helmet, looks exactly like the type of outfit that's used in most anime and films in which they need to control a giant robot machine of some sort. At the end of the day, it's just a couple of bay doors and Utopia's helmet, but it says a lot about what's about to go down on the island. If you find any clues yourself, then be sure to let us know. Honestly, we just went from one confirmed giant monster to a close confirmed second, and I couldn't be more excited for this Caddis event. Honorable mention number 1 is monster sightings. I'm sure there's many of you watching all doing your own research to uncover what's happening with this mysterious giant creature. But for those who play a lot more casually, then it's most likely that you've missed the monster sightings that happen occasionally. Every now and then you find the monster swimming just under the water surface for a short period of time before diving deeper again. It's kind of hard to miss when you suddenly see the old Polar Peaks castle floating through the water and making waves. You never actually get to see the monster, but it seems to have been trapped for so long that the castle and creature are attached. These sightings don't help too much with figuring out what the creature could be, as it could be Godzilla or a Kraken. Kraken is fairly obvious water-based animal, but for any Godzilla fan, you'll know that he can also swim, and pretty well at that too. One hint that does push me to believe it's Godzilla is the fact that the creature comes up periodically for a short time before diving, almost as though it's getting another breath of air, like many mammal-based water animals. Sea creatures. Number 1 is the Unvaulting Event's Shadowed Beast. So the Unvaulting Event was a bit of a monster in of itself. Yeah, sure, it was a fair vote, but there was no way you were beating the horde of zombies at that drum gun. And not that I was one of those mindless zombies or anything, but the community got what they wanted, at least until many regretted a week later after spending most of their time wasting material trying to defend against drum gun spammers. Hashtag no regrets. I'm talking like Christopher Walken right now. I don't even know what's going on. But there was more to this location than just the unvaulting. Inside, you can find a desk which sat Utopia's helmet, which either gives the impression that Utopia has been here herself before, or that the Fortnite architects that are behind the vault have big plans for her. And perhaps a giant freaking monster fighting robot? There's one question though. Do I get to control it? I hope I get to control it. I'm playing you thought we were playing Fortnite? No, we're playing Gundam now, baby. I can already imagine loading in. We're on a team of 20 or something, all sitting in a Power Rangers like mecha shooting different cannons at Godzilla. But there's one more creature we can't rule out yet. During the unvaulting event, many people claim to see this massive shadowed figure in the weird pink cloudy abyss above. Looks like the head of some sea serpent-like creature with its pointy ears and tails below its chin. But this is the only time we've seen it so far. There's one counter-argument that suggests this might be a shadow glitch from a blimp reaching through to the vault, and that's all we're seeing, which to be fair, you can see how that could be the case. But at the end of the day, I couldn't skip this possible monster because it definitely looks like some sort of creature's head. The time is near, though, in which all these theories will start to come together and either fade away or come to fruition. But out of all of the possible theories so far, what do you think is going to be the most likely scenario? let us know in the comment section below. But before you click off this video, be sure to check out our Polar Peak Godzilla event. Watch the video. Click the link. It's right there. Do it. Yeah, click it. I clicked it. You should click it too. You should keep it here on Top 5 Gaming, not IGN. We don't like IGN. Just kidding. Or are we?